Swarm alert!
Hey, what's up?
Hey, where are you?
I'm busy.
Doing what?
I'm out fishing.
Fishing? Where? What lake? What river?
Well, I'm out fishing at Mom's garden pond.
Okay, but we have a swarm on the move. Are you coming?
Relax, Yara. Just let him be. And besides, I didn't bring my gear with me.
Well, okay, fine. Have fun fishing.
Love you.
Yeah, love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. A bee swarm? Please. Everyone wants to be free. Oh, I think I got one.
What is a bee swarm? A bee swarm is basically the movement when a group of bees leaves the colony with the oldest queen in there. Now, the main reason to why bees swarm is not completely defined. However, some people say that one of the main contributing factors is the lack of room in the colony. So overpopulation of bees and, well, they need more room, so they leave. Before the swarm actually happens, bees prepare themselves, and part of their preparedness is sending out scouts to locate a good area for them to move out. Now, usually, the bees don't leave that far away from the colony. Initially, a few meters away from the colony, actually. However, they don't usually stay at one place at a time. They land at a close area close to their colony, and then they travel to another one, and another one, and so forth until they find an actual place where they want to start building their own colony. Now, in the past, believe it or not, beekeepers started off their apiaries and their bee yards by catching swarms because they didn't have bee packages and things like that. They did that for actually quite a few years, and that's how they started off. Swarming is the nature of the bee. Now, you can prevent it, and sometimes you cannot. When bees decide that they're going to swarm, they're going to swarm, and no matter what you do, they're still going to swarm. In other words, the decision has been made.
Alright, so I got everything that I need, and as you may see, the swarm actually isn't that big. And I'm pretty sure it comes actually from Malvina's Wari hive as well, because I saw a lot of bees flying around from there. Now, in books, they say that when bees are going to decide that they're going to swarm, they're going to swarm. And no matter where you put them, they're still going to swarm. However, I'm going to show you today how I have been taught to catch swarms really efficiently, and so far we haven't had a single swarm that I caught that swarmed again. So let me quickly show you where I'm going to put them in. Alright, so this is actually a 5-framed nuke. I have 4 frames here so far. I have 2 feed. So here's some with honey and pollen. The other one is on the end over here. Some more honey, a little bit of pollen there. And then I also have 2 frames here that are going to be actually for the queen to lay eggs in. As you can see right there. And I said it was a 5-framed nuke, but I only have 4. So this is how I keep them in. No, this is the strategy that I have been taught to keep the swarm in. I'm going to go to one of our colonies and I'm actually going to get an open brood frame, so full of eggs, because bees, if you put a frame with brood in them, they're not going to abandon it. That's going to be impossible for them to do it. And that's how we keep our bees in the nuke or in the colony or in the box, wherever we put them, without them getting swarmed again. So let's head over to a colony and find an open brood frame. All right. So what I'm going to be looking for here is actually young brood. So eggs maybe. However, the first thing that I'm going to do is smoke the bees a little bit. The brood should be in the middle somewhere. But I'm going to take out actually the second frame here so I don't actually smash or kill the queen. Safety precautions. Now, obviously, before I'm going to take the frame, I'm going to make sure the queen isn't there. Because we don't want, first of all, to take the queen from this hive and then mix it up with the other ones. This is food. Alright, so I found some brood on this frame that we have right here. See, there's a few eggs in here. So this is the frame that I'm going to take for our swarm. And another thing, I'm going to shake the bees here. First of all, I'm going to check if the queen isn't here. I'm going to shake the bees because I don't want to take any of them. Alright, now I'm going to put the frame that I took out back. This one, with the food in it. There we go. Clean up the nest. Put the second hive on. Make sure there's no bees. 1, 2, 3. Make sure it's lined up right. And finally put that second frame that I took out back. I don't want the brood to start getting cold, so I'm gonna run back to our swarm and let's go catch it. Okay, wind is picking up. Alright, so here's the plan. I'm gonna put this in here first. Tighten it up. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab my cutters here. I'm going to free any branches that are going to bug me. Alright, the idea actually is getting as much bees as we can in this box, or in this little nuke here. And take this out and put it right underneath the swarm. I'm gonna try to get as many of them as I can in the box, and actually the rest, if I can get as many bees as I can, the rest are actually gonna literally march into the box, and I've seen it happen before. They literally march in there because of the pheromones. So let's try this.
Right at this moment, I realized I made a huge mistake. I was so excited to get the swarm that I forgot to put my veil on, and by the time I realized that, it was too late.
Alright, so it's been about 24 hours, and what I'm going to do is I am going to fire up the smoker and actually check if they establish nicely. And not only am I going to do that, I'm also going to see if I can find the queen now that the nuke is actually pretty small, or the colony is small. So I'm going to find her, clip her wings, and also mark her. Alright, so here we are. I can see that there's some bees flying around here. I really hope they have accepted this box as their colony. And not only that, but also, you know, just make sure that they have established well. Oh yeah, and they definitely did. Oh goodness. Look at that. Just gonna smoke them a bit. So my goal, one of my goals is complete now. I've noticed that they have established, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the queen. Now I did notice that there's a lot of bees here, so let's see if we can find her. Here's the frame that I had with fruit, and here's the food one too. Here we go. Let's dive in. Alright, there's a lot of bees here. Let's look for the queen. Alright, so if you look closely here in this frame, this is actually one of the emptier ones that I did have, and you can see that there's a lot of shiny stuff there. And that's actually all the nectar that the bees, when they first left the colony, like with their crops all full, that they put all the nectar and all the food they had in there. So I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they really accepted this nucleus box that I have here for them. I'm pretty sure I'm going to move them if the queen is here and I find her and I know she's laying or something. I will move them to a regular Langstroth hive, because by the looks of it, they will need more room eventually. Hey guys, so today's my day 2 on trying to find the queen. This is actually my second pass. I tried to look for her yesterday and I just could not find that queen. She was a good hider, and besides the amount of bees there were, hopefully today is my day. When I find her, like I said earlier, I'll probably mark her, clip her wings, search for her first of all, clip her wings so she doesn't swarm ever again, and then we'll be good. Maybe today will be my day. Oh, there she is! There is Her Royal Majesty. Wow, she's beautiful. I don't know if you can see her, but she's right here. Right there. There. She's a beautiful queen. Oop, got one of them. Alright, so next up, I'm going to clip her wings and mark her. Set this down quickly. You can see that there's some bees here because like I said, this is my second check, but finally I found her. Hallelujah. Okay. You get her comfortable. I can't clip her wings there. Okay, there we go. Wings checked. Now for her marking. Okay, so for the marking, I know there's a color coding for, you know, for raising queens or whenever the queen was born or placed in the colony, but I don't like doing that. I only mark her to make it easier for me to actually find her in general. So I usually paint her, you know, white, maybe even yellow like I'm doing now. But no, that's what I'm gonna do. And since this marker is actually a water-based marker, I am going to place her in this cage and actually let her dry up. The reason why is because this marker is actually a water-based marker, and if I put the queen in the colony now, they're actually gonna clean her up, and well, all the marking was worthless. So yeah, I'm thankful that I found her and I got to finally mark her and clip her wings. She won't be swarming anymore, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically let her dry out for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna go put her back in her colony. She's a beautiful queen. Alright guys, so a few minutes have passed and our queen is all nice and dry. Now it's time to release her. There she goes. Come on, girl. You can see all the bees piled up all over there. Bye-bye. And we're done! First off, what I'm going to do is I have my smoker, I have my tools. I am going to move the nucleus on the back here. I'm gonna place the hive right where the nucleus was at. Just gonna bring it back here. Put the entrance right where it was. There we go. Alright, so I moved the swarm back here momentarily, and you can see that bees are already confused because this was where their house was at. So let me quickly show you what I have in store for them. I have 5 frames here, considering there's 5 frames in the nucleus box here. I have 4 frames that are already built, some with pollen that you may see here. Pollen, food. And then I also have 1 plastic frame with foundation so that the bees can actually build wax here instead of on top of the frames and even the roof. So next up, all I'm going to do is basically move all the frames in their order inside here, and I'm gonna keep it in the middle because I don't want to break the nest. So let's get started. I have my smoker here, and if I can catch the queen, that would be great. I have a cage with me, but I'm gonna make sure she's probably laying. See, you can see that they started building wax here, on the sides, everywhere basically. So they were actually demanding for more food. First off is the frame with feed. I'm gonna put it in also in the right order that I took it out of and it was at. I don't want to flip the frames over because that'll actually confuse the bees. Next up is this frame. More feed. Next is the frame that I used to catch a swarm in the first place. This one has a whole bunch of brood in it. Oops, it's really stuck. Come on. You see, I'm not too scared that they're gonna sting me right now because I have smoke, and besides, they're actually pretty docile. Probably my most docile bees are the ones in my Kenyan top bar hive. Okay, I'm not gonna actually destroy these cells yet. I wanna see if I can find the queen first, and if I do, I'm gonna destroy those cells because they're not needed. So the queen, yeah, she's definitely laying. Now you may recall that I did mark the queen, so it should be easy to spot her. And if I don't, well, she's probably in that bundle over there. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out one of these so I can have a little bit more free space. There we go. Okay, so the queen, I didn't see her there. She must be in this bundle right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to gently shake the bees in here. And I think I might, after I do that, I'm going to look for that queen. There we go. So there are a few bees left in here. I'm gonna just basically put them in the entrance here so they can all go back to their home. Alright, so it's been a few minutes and the bees have mostly settled in. Now I'm just gonna come back here and look for the queen. There she is! Look at her. Beautiful. Alright, so I know she's in here. Now all that I can do is actually destroy those queen cells that I saw earlier, since I know that they have a queen here. Gently put this back. There we go. And look at all these queen cells. Since I know that the queen is here, all I can do is just destroy these. There we go. Alright, so that's it. Now I'm just gonna put that frame I took out back in here. And well, everything's well. So all I have to do now is wait for a few days leave this hive here, and then at night or early in the morning, I'm gonna come here and just put it with a regular apiary. Oops, we don't want these bees in the way. There we go. Sleep tight, girls. Alright guys, so that was it for today's video. Now, there are a few things I want to mention, or some few points that I thought I could have done better, or also just points I want to share with you that I made from this video. The first one is safety first always, because you see what happened? I got so excited of catching the bee swarm, you know, and I also thought that, okay, the bees are settled in a very weak branch, there's windy, I should get them catch them really quickly as I can, and I completely forgot to put my veil on, and by the time I noticed, it was too late. One of the reasons why I don't really like to use my veil is because I find it kind of awkward, because it makes it a little bit difficult for me to see as well. So yeah, safety first always, and that's what I'm going to take for myself from now on. But then again, I had a lot of fun. So safety first always. Point number 2, like I showed you in the video, I always put one open brood frame with either eggs or, you know, just young brood, because bees, they're really good sisters and they'll never abandon each other. And why I use my open brood frame is because it guarantees 100% success in catching a bee swarm. So that is why I put that open brood frame in that nucleus box when I was catching the bee swarm, and it worked. You saw how they all established nicely, and yeah, so they stayed there. They're good sisters. Something else I want to add is to always have frame with foundation in wherever you're gonna put them. I didn't really have one ready, a frame with foundation, so I will do it for future occasions. I wasn't prepared, that's why. And the reason to that is because when bees decide that they're gonna swarm, they stuff their crops to the maximum with nectar and a whole bunch of resources, because when they go find a place where they're gonna be after they swarm, they need to build honeycomb. So that is why it's important to have a frame with foundation, and why I will do it for future swarms that I'm gonna catch. Point number 4, say for example, somebody calls me from a faraway place, about 30 kilometers or even more, and it takes me about 30 minutes to go over there and catch it. If I'm supposed to carry a frame with open brood, I always have to keep it moisturized or humid so they don't die. So what I do is I just basically put a wet towel on top of it. So that's point number 4. All right, point number 5. The best time you can catch a swarm is during the day. And if you're gonna move them in the morning or at night. And the main reason is because when bees leave the colony, they're usually gonna establish somewhere close to that previous hive. So probably in a branch like you saw, it wasn't that far away. It was only a few meters away from the Yara hive. They're gonna stay there about 24 hours, 48 hours. And during their time there, they're gonna send out scouts to look for a new place for them to live in or establish their colony. And if you move them at night or early in the morning, you're gonna have almost all of the bees in the box or in the nucleus or wherever you're gonna keep them, and you're not gonna leave any bees behind. You're not gonna leave any behind. Say for example, you move them at 1 p.m. No, you're gonna leave a lot of bees behind. So just remember to catch a bee swarm during the day, move them at night or really early in the morning. Alright guys, lastly and most important, and I think it's actually one of the most important comments that I'm going to be sharing here, is say for example I get called about a bee swarm that I know it does not belong to me. It does not come from my apiary, but it may be a wild bee swarm, or it may come from another beekeeper, etc. What my family and I have done when this actually happens is we made a quarantine bee yard that is actually a long ways away from any of our beehives. We actually have one right now at one of our friends' place where it's actually pretty far ways away from our bee yards. And one of the main reasons to why we established that quarantine bee yard is because we don't know if that swarm that we caught has any diseases such as the varroa mite, or for instance, this actually happened to us. We brought it too close to our apiaries and we noticed that the adult bees had no hair. They were hairless, they were oily like. And then we found out that they had the chronic paralysis virus. And that was pretty bad. So we made that quarantine bee yard to basically control and keep a good observation to those swarms and make sure they don't have any diseases or any problems with them. It makes you look like a very professional beekeeper, and it also will help you to prevent any contaminations or any diseases go to your bees. Alongside with that note, when you catch a swarm that doesn't belong to you, it's also a good opportunity to replace that queen. Now, why am I saying this? You don't know if that queen is a good egg layer, if she's too old, or maybe if she has some Africanized genetics in them, or etc. So, if you catch a swarm and you know it's not from your bee genetics or from your apiary, take the opportunity to replace that queen and, I don't know, go buy it from a local beekeeper that you know has a great reputation for raising awesome queen bees. I don't know, spends however much he or she will ask for the queen, but take that opportunity to replace that queen with a breed that you know is going to help you raise a stronger or even better colony than the one that came from the swarm. Alright, so I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to share with you guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Please hit a big thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a comment about, how do you catch your bee swarms, or what you do, what are your steps, etc. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and click on the bell, so then you'll be notified every single time we upload a new video. And finally, follow us on all of our social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And thank you again for watching this video. My name is Yara, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.